It's like, you know, you've got this magic going on, the magic's going on, and people suspend their disbelief. But you have to help them suspend their disbelief. You cannot expect them to clamber over all kinds of stupidities that you've put in your book, you know, because that's not fair. So I'm prepared to put in the hard work to try and make my readers' time as nice as possible, as perfect as an experience as possible.
When you create a world, you create first the world or the history of the characters?
I do it all simultaneously. Oh no, the characters. No. The characters generally, well, I think what you do...
My question is, because when you just create the landscape and the tier, for example, I think you are putting some boundaries on the way the story
yes, you are.
to evolve.
You absolutely are.
And my question is there sometimes when you say, no, I want the characters to evolve this way, so I'm going to alterate the world? So
no, to some extent, but fundamentally, it's always got to be that way around. You know, landscapes affect people, and people affect landscapes much less. I mean, you know, I can't, you know, if I'm living in the brain shadow of this mountain, I'm going to be living in a desert, whatever, and if I suddenly want to change that, I can't kind of move the mountain. You know, you can't do it. So, but one of the things about the way that I work is that, and more and more so now because I'm becoming more sophisticated, is that you just sketch very lightly certain aspects. So you will sketch in a landscape, and then you start thinking about some of the characters, and then you think, So then you kind of, I'll just adjust this mountain range a little bit, whatever. And you gradually, you spend some time doing one bit, you go and spend another bit, and everything gradually feeds backwards and forwards, and the whole thing just gradually kind of evolves in one go, you know. Is that?
Maybe I can have a last question. Now it's taking you more than 10 years, you all have these very rich worlds, and I saw in an interview that you told, well, I'm not going into that world again. But how, as an author, now you just put it to rest?
Well, at the time I had to put it to rest because I hadn't actually lived there day and night for 10 years, 12 years. And it was a little bit like a prison sentence. I mean, a nice one, you know, one of my own making, but it was a prison sentence. And so, and I was totally exhausted because basically, you know, the way I see it is, I built a pyramid. I mean, you know, I thought I was building, you know, a shed or a nice building at the bottom of the garden, and gradually, because I hadn't realised the scale, what I actually was building was a pyramid. And then by the time I built the base, you can't just have a pyramid that goes like this and then goes. It has to go to the top. And so you go, you know, you're standing here and you just go, oh God. build. Oh, you know, and then you get to the very top. So, so they got to a stage where, having finished, put the little triangle at the top. I just went, right, bye. And I tried to do that, but then gradually, as I've become a little calmer about the situation, I've actually become more. There's a couple of books I might write in that world again. There are a couple. One of the things is, I rather not foolishly, the way I constructed it. Remember, I was talking about history. The way what I did was I actually had this huge history that funnels down to the events in my book, and then nothing. And so everything that there is, I hadn't actually constructed the history and the whole situation so tightly that the only possible thing that could come out of it was this book, these 3 books. However, there are possibilities to explore. There is actually a point earlier on, which is referred to quite a lot in the 3rd book, which I could explore. And I have a very bizarre notion for a shortish book that would run alongside this. So it'd be like a 4th book, but at a different level.